We're going to travel into the Old West today, look at some cowboy guns. Before we do that though, I think I need to deal with some desperados on the other side of this wall. Yeah, there's one. Coffee, quick. Yes, the cult single action. Oh boy, if that doesn't take you into the Old West. What does and what could take you into the Old West further than a cold single action? How about 2 of them or 3 or full? So let's see what we have here. This one's empty. Let's go ahead and 3 chart. Well, not recharge, but let's empty the firearm, get those out, lay him down and oh boy, look at this table shot goo. NS lever gun single actions. I'm in hog heaven, and some of you are too when you see these beautiful old firearms. Beautiful new firearms don't have to be old, but they're pretty cool. What we're going to go is I'll show you some of these firearms. Get a lot of questions about some of my competition history, and I talk about that a little bit. Done lots of different sorts of shooting, and this is my first love, as you know, so it doesn't take much arm pulling to get me to talk about these firearms and dress up a little bit in some of the gear that I used to wear when I did a little bit of cowboy action shooting. And one reason I was motivated, as you probably know if you follow Facebook, the posting on the El Paso holsters. The rig came in and I've been waiting months for it, and now that's it. Is it beautiful? Let me show it off because I love good leather. I'll just do a little spin here like I'm on the stage. I'm a supermodel at the walkway, right on the walkway. Well, you know in all of our videos there is a star. It's the holsters, the guns, and I got a couple of cold single actions in there. But anyway, that's a new El Paso rig, and I didn't want to think and they made that for me, and I had one just like it years ago, and it was stolen back in the 90s. Never did really replace it. I replaced it with a San Pedro, which is a nice rig. Got a little I'd on me over the years, and I needed another one. And so I was going to order one. Checked around. Hey guys, just like anything else, you want some exposure. You want to make one of these for me. I will use it. Will definitely use it. It will be my rig from here on out, because you just really need one good rigger for both of your single actions, right? And they tend to last a long time, provided you don't get too fat. Alright, so anyway, I want to show you that because I just love it. I'm thinking about wearing it everywhere I go, and just open carry. It's legal in Tennessee to open carry, so I guess it's legal to open carry to guns, right? So if you see me around town, Nashville, anywhere, Tennessee, I might just be wearing this rig. Alright, a lot of people will think they're fake guns, probably, but you'll know not that they are real and they're loaded. So what else we got some different guns here. So a couple of things. I wanted to give you some of the basics of cowboy action shooting, and some of you might be thinking about going into it. We did this, I think, with a little EPSC thing a couple years ago. I wasn't the best at any of this stuff. I had a little success and all of it, and some failure at all of it, but I have had some experience with it, and maybe I can help you a little bit here. Just give you some of the basics, and then also a little of the history, my history with it, and what I did, what I went through back in the middle 90s. I tried it. I didn't for a long time because I wasn't really interested in dressing up like a cowboy, even though these are my favorite firearms. If you're 6'8", you don't need cowboy boots to make you a 6 to 12. That's almost 7 feet, isn't it? So no, I wasn't. I didn't own cowboy boots and that kind of thing. I wasn't interested in a pistol caliber rifle because you had to use that. I thought, what would I need a pistol caliber rifle, which is what this is and that one. But long story short, once I got these, they're some of my favorite firearms, and yours too, even in semi-automatics. The pistol caliber rifles are just a lot of fun, so I didn't realize what I was missing until I got into this. But just quickly, a little holster history. These are some of my after I had my El Paso rig stolen. I got some San Pedros, and those are then, well, I need to clean them up on eBay. Got a little corroded in the barn, and then I also found a set of the 7.5 inch, because at one point had a 7.5 inch Colt, so I used those in some. In fact, the last 2 matches I shot in, I carried 7.5 inch Colts and shot clean matches, and the last 2 ones I Shot in, which means you have no misses, and so those are nice holsters, and those are kind of getting collectible, I think. It went out of business. They used to be in, I believe, in Tombstone, Arizona, and then I bought an El Paso salad that's a cross draw for 7.5. I use that a lot prowling around the farm. This is a Tom 3 persons all from a friend of mine, and that is El Paso saddlery, so that's a cool holster. It's more of a modern poster, okay, and that's the thing about El Paso. They've been making these holes for since 1889. Is that amazing? They made them for some people who were maybe still real cowboys, I don't know, and then for the movie actors and everything else. And they're still making them, okay, so there are other people who make them. There's several companies that make these authentic style holsters, and the authentic means they're up on the belt. They don't hang down here. The drop loops were mostly Hollywood-esque tough, they carry their guns up here, okay, and that way they feel better. They're not heavy, not slapping against your leg and all that kind of thing. In most of the movies, that's why John Wayne carried his. He knew enough about the history, and I mean that's fairly authentic, at least where he carries it. He's got some holsters he's going to help. He'll carry the gun in there. They may not go date back to 1880s, I don't know, but at least he carries them up here, where they should be carried, so they have a lot of history. El Paso, I don't know if a lot of people think they're the best. If you check around the web, you see a lot of mixed reviews. Everybody appreciates their history, but boy, you see a lot of criticism of the customer service, and I don't know how much that's true. It's hard to tell from the web. It really is, because surheads or people from the competition get upset and they just go onto the web and hammer you, so it's really hard to know unless you have personal experience, with a company. Just that simple. So anyway, I love my new El Paso saddlery holsters. I want to let you know that, alright, when I started a Cowboy shooting, this rifle here was my rifle. I got that was it this, and I shot that for 4 years, and I'm not sure these Skinner sights are even legal in the action shooting, but I put that on there when I quit using it for that, and I love that sight. But boy, these guns are like butter. These Marlin Model 94's 45 Colt shot the same round that my pistols did. Used that a long time, then I finally got the 1873, and these shoot like butter, and I put the tank sight on the Marbles tank sight, which makes it more like a M1 carbine or an AR, because you can look through that, find the front sight, and the SE are legal in SAS shooting and cowboy action shooting, because they were around back then, okay, and those are the ticket. They really are, okay. So the 1873, you've seen this gun before. That's a cool G. And so I thought I'd use it today, and I've used a gun like this. This is one you've seen this recently, the Ithaca. I just got it out because I like it so much, but I stayed a hammered shotgun most of the time. Sometimes I didn't. I use a Stoker, but I'd always used a double. I never did use the pump, the 1897, which is legal, and so if I were going to go shoot a match tomorrow, I would take this one. T's a beautiful old gun, okay, this 1902. Right, yeah, that's the right date, I think. Okay, so I've gone through several stages of it, and then this is a piece that some people use. That's the other thing I wanted to cover. If you think you want to do it, it's kind of expensive, because you need a rifle, you need a shotgun, you need pistols, or you need to borrow those guns or one of those guns. So it's not something that a lot of people, if they've just got a Glock and a pump shotgun, 20 to rifle, can go do tomorrow. Because you really do need to single actions, and then a shotgun and a rifle. A pistol caliber rifle, people are nearly really good about lending you guns, though, if you want to try it out. So just an option there, and I mean, there's so many guns available, the Rugers and all the clones, the Colt clones, the C. Also, whatever you want to shoot, depending on what you want to do. You can shoot one-handed, called duelist, or you can try to hammer them away with two hands and slip hammer and try to match your blow. CK speed, with it, your modern gun speed, okay. So people shooting all those classes, I pretty quickly just started shooting in duelist, because I wasn't worried about trying to shoot as fast as I could with a Glock or something and I just felt more like John Wayne shooting one-handed, even went to black powder and shot black powder the last 4 or 5 years I did it. I sound like I'm some old guy that can't do any that stuff anymore or something. I mean, I could thoroughly enjoy it, I guess, and do it and still do well, and if sick or this whatever Glock shooting matches anything IW anti to do, I just when you stand around all weekend. If these matches are all day from 7 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, waiting to shoot, and everything you have to really love it, and I get to shoot anytime I want to, and I would talk myself out of going to a match quite often. Say, man, I've got a lot of guns I'd like to just shoot, go out and shoot my lever gun on the ground, shoot whatever gun, the guns I have. If I go stand at that match all day today, maybe even the whole weekend, I don't get to do that, So that's what took me away from shooting, because I like shooting too much variety. So anyway, these are the guns, and then what else was I going to tell you? I was gonna say the loading table. So this was going to do is just set up kind of a mock little thing here. This will be like my redneck version of it, but it just kind of show you what you could expect if you decide to go shoot one of these matches tomorrow. This is a little thing that some people take to the loading table to make sure they just take the correct number of rounds, and I don't think any of this has changed, but generally you load 10 in your rifle and then 10 in your pistols, 5 in each one. So something like this, I had mine burned on there cold just because I used some hotter rounds for my rifle sometimes, and I had an R there. I remember one time I got confused. I thought, okay, these are my revolver cartridges. No, it was my rifle, so that Colton are for rifle, not are for revolver. And I tell you the truth, though, I didn't use it but about on C or twice, because when you're at the loading table and you get the order to load, then you got to pull them out of there and then also put them in, and it's easier if you just have them in a box, but no way, that's an option to make sure you just have the right number, because it sits the safety table, the loading table. There's a safety officer there, and what he will do is tell you to load, and I am just going to kind of go through it, and I'm going to stage these guns. This is kind of what you would do there, maybe 2 or 3 of us at the loading table with our firearms here, and this here kind of the ultimate 3-gun match, right? So you got your rifle. I'm just going to go ahead and load it, and I'm going to stage it, all right. So what you would do is I'll load it out of this time. Okay, these are all the same load, so a guy doesn't have to even show this the range officer it's empty, and then he'll give you command to load. And so you load, and he's watching kind of counting A and D, so you put 10 in. I'll tell you, let's just pretend we're using that. Let me get 10 out of here. Here's 2 applause. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Didn't know I could count that far, did you? And what I would use as well as just a plastic box. That's what most people did use and do, I guess, still, and have a row of 10, so it's pretty easy to see you got 10 there to say you'd load T. That you don't load the shotgun before you stage it, but you do load your handguns. So you load your rifle, and they'll tell you, okay, load my handguns, and you just show the range officer it's unloaded. You'll take a quick look. So okay, load her up, and so you grab 5 as you see me do many times. Load 1, skip 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and holster carefully, safely, and your holster, and then load the oath R1. Same thing, pull it out and show him it's unloaded, okay. Now sometimes, though, you'd have something a little different in a stage. It's whoever set up the stage and tell you what to do. I thought I'd do a little of that here. I'm going to stage this one. We're gonna end this one the instructions. Alright, you must have staged one of your pistols right down here unloaded. Talk about a nervous loading and on the clock and all that. Now this rifle is loaded, and when they give you the when you're up next, you leave your guns on this table and left that out until, well, you're on deck and it's time for you to shoot. And the other guy has shot or gal has shot, and it's okay, and they call your name out, and you go ahead and stage your guns, okay. And so that's what I'm doing. This is loaded. There's nothing in the number, of course. I'm gonna stage it right here. You lean it Somewhere generally very, very safe. Okay, it's not going to fall over and. Quite a lot of matches they'll have a prong or something there to put T between to make sure there's no way it's going to fall even though there's nothing in the chamber so the rifle is. Stage the shotgun you do not load and I'm gonna stage it over there this tree around. D a little bit, but not so many obstacles. Get to load your shotgun or anything, you shoot out of it you know when you get to it and tell you when it's time to do it, and so someone has written this course. Se, what they've done and just give you an idea what this course is it's going to be starting and shooting you know. 5 from 1 pistol starting back here and moving up to into the gravel to shoot 5 shots on those 3 targets they usually tell. You'll just shoot 5 on the Cowboy, and that would be the instructions okay. Then move to that pistol loaded and put 5 on the other Cowboy. Well alright, and then holster after I shoot those are the instructions then go to the rifle and pick it up and engage those 4 plates until I run out of ammo until I put 10 rounds on those 4 rectangular plates that's the instructions that somebody wrote for this stage. I put the rifle back down, I go to the shotgun, I take 4 shots at the cattle, 3 at the Cowboy and 1 at that disc to make it fall okay, and that's the stage, and so somebody's going to be moving behind me with a clock the range officer, and if you've not done this before that'll make you a little bit nervous, but you get used to it and you just move safely deliberately. You don't do anything beyond your speed, which you can normally move, and that sort of thing. It's for fun, you don't worry about how fast you can do it, but you just go ahead and do it deliberately as quickly as you can. Alright, so it's my turn. Alright, so I know this gun is loaded. I don't pull it out because it's loaded. I really shouldn't even touch it. It's loaded and I've got everything I need. I've got shot I normally have. I have this belt slide that holds about 6 or 8 shotgun shells right here. I couldn't find it as bury it. I'm on a bunch of stuff in my bag I used to use for this, so I just put them in my vest pocket. Okay, so I got some shotgun shells there, and so I've got the ammo and the gun, so I'm going to load off my belt. Okay, so I've got plenty of rounds in my belt. I've got a load, I got a couple empty there. I'm gonna make sure I've got plenty, so I tried a couple of those earlier with my belt loops. It's like a real cowboy, right? Okay. They turn green once you leave them there for a while. Alright, so I've got 5 there. I got more than 5, but I'm okay because I have to load that empty pistol down. And there, alright, it's all good. Both Cowboys with it. Pistols okay, I'm shotgun. Alright, so I'm gonna start right here now. Lots of times when these matches you'll have some corny thing you're supposed to say, like, you desperados get out of my barn or whatever, that kind of thing. Then you move up and you just start shooting, and then they start the clock. Okay, so we'll just do that. I'm not going to speed through this too quick, but I just want to show you this is the kind of thing that you can expect at a Cowboy mask. Of course, you got much better props. Some of them have little saloons built and towns, and everything's really, really cool, like that at Wart's Race of the War Trace Regulators where I used to shoot a lot. Alright, so applause. You'll be standing here and you'll hear a Buzz Lee beep, and I'll say, what are you desperados? The one in my barn lot. And I move down here, hold my gun out safely, and I engage the Cowboy. Those things. Okay, reholster safely. I move to this position, pick up this gun, reloaded, and of course, I'm on the clock right now. And I have noticed that they don't do as much reloading on the clock, or it's not as common, unless that has changed, but it's kind of fun. Alright, Cowboy, foreign, holster safely. And then I moved, and of course as I'm reholstering safely, I'm moving towards the rifle, pick it up safely. I'm going to engage those 4 plates, remember, applause. The applause. Okay, I'll leave the action open. I put it back down. I move over to the shotgun. I can run. What do I want to do last if I want to go? Alright, I've got the ammo and probably the wrong puck. For me that's okay. Engage the Cowboy 3 times. Notice those double holes, they come out very smoothly. I gotta put 1 more in the Cowboy before and do instructions. That's a defective target, so I got him he started falling. Okay, I show the range. Officer, it's empty, and on my last shot that's where the timer stops, of course. Alright, so whether it was 90 seconds or 180 seconds, or whatever it was, that was my time, and I think I had one missed with one of the pistols. I believe is the only miss I had, so that adds what, 5 seconds I think to your time. So say it took me 95 seconds to run that, then it would add another 5 seconds, either 5 or 10. I've forgotten now, so I would have 100 seconds that took me to run the course. Okay, so that's my score. Alright, so anyway, that's kind of what you do, and then sometimes with the shotgun they'll have there some cool targets where you'll shoot something and it'll activate a clay pigeon that jumps up in the air and things like that, and then hoot the clay pigeon with the second shot. So they get pretty creative with some stuff. You're shooting through a window, who's shooting over a bar, you know, you're the bar room stool, and that kind of thing, just anything that makes it more like the Old West. Alright, so if it's something you think you'd like to do again, it's kind of expensive, but it's fun if you can get the guns together. And why? You can just get cheap old guns to start with. Borrowed a pistol if he's got one single action, or just borrow somebody's guns. Totally is what I would recommend if you're ever gonna, try it on. As you know, and I left my lever gun. I'm gonna grab it down here. These old guns, as I've demonstrated before, are really effective because, they just shoot well and they're fun to shoot. Lever guns will pump out the lid and you can hit anything you need to hit. It's just pretty amazing. So I don't do it much anymore, or I haven't for a while, and I think that's still kind of how it runs. You got your loading table, you got your safety officers, very important part of it, and you can use the cheapest guns you can find long as they work. Borrow some guns, see if you'd lick it. I advise you go watch your match. A lot of people would do that, There'd be spectators almost every match, just watching to see if it's something they thought they'd like to do and try, and generally they want you to wear at least a long sleeve shirt, long pants, some kind of boots. I'm just wearing my sneakers today, and then a cowboy hat. Alright, and then some people dress up. They look like they're right off a Hollywood set. They really do, and it's cool, and probably about half the folks just kind of do like I do, just kind of meet the requirements and need the spirit of it, but don't necessarily order all the best clothing from all the catalogs and try to do that, but none others do. It just depends on what you want to do. They didn't wear blue jeans back in the true West. There were no blue jeans, so that's mostly Hollywood or country music stuff. There a lot of the hats and the stuff you see for sale here in Nashville. It's really old West stuff. It's country music, cowboy, which is different from real cowboy. They didn't really have pockets on their shirts, their pants very much, and that kind of thing, suspenders. And so you can find all that stuff if you really want to get into it. It's a lot of fun. Most people do it for the fun of it, and because they like these old guns, not sitting the night before. Oh my gosh, where am I going to place tomorrow? I'm worried I'm not going to win the match. There are always those people, but most people just thoroughly enjoy it because they have a love of these firearms like I do, and they like to go hang out with people that have similar feelings for them and enjoy them. So anyway, that's a little bit about the cowboy action shooting and and then these guns, they're just great. These are the guns. This is the pair that I use in a lot of matches, even with black powder. I shot those, and so they've been in a lot of matches and leaned up and horribly messy and dirty, and if I do it tomorrow I would use these. This is another match pair. These two guns shoot the same point of aim, and so do these, and that's ideal if you can get a couple of pistols, revolvers, single actions that fire and hit the same point of aim. That's great. But then the other point I forgot to mention, the targets are really large, and so it's as in so almost anybody can do it now. Someone who's really proficient will shoot faster, of course, have a better time, but many of the targets are very close. The rifle targets, I was just shooting at these plates because lots of times that's it. It's not much further than that. I could have shot some turkeys over there or something, but it's rare really the matches I shot and not shot in a lot of them, but the targets are even that far away, really, for even the rifle, so it's not a marksmanship thing. As much as just it's fun, and again it's easy to miss, but and your time is a factor, but anybody can go have fun, and even if you're an amateur shooter, haven't been shooting very long, you'll have very few misses. Let's just try to shoot too fast, so anyway might be summit thing you want to try, it might not be. You definitely don't have to go shooting one of those matches to enjoy these guns, because I enjoy them all the time, and I rarely, well, I don't go to those really anymore, but I might do it sometime. I don't know, never say no ever. So anyway, I wanted to bring you some of these cowboy firearms and talk a little bit about that and give you kind of the basics of that and show you this new rig. I'm so happy with that. I'm going to be wearing all the time. I might even sleep in it.